Hello, everyone. This is Kathy Mason here on Conscious Business Zone with the brilliant consciousness teacher, Amanda Lorence. Hi, Amanda.
Hello everybody.
I'm so excited to have her here. Amanda, I'm going to ask a couple questions to get us started, but please just feel free to say whatever comes through. You gave me some information that said that you awoke on my birthday in 2012,
Yeah.
September 22nd. So there's something there, huh? But anyway, how how did it happen? What happened when you awoke?
Uh, on that date, I went to learn how to meditate
Oh,
um, because I had a highly stressful job and suffering anxiety, etc. And I wanted to find a way to stop all of that. So I searched everywhere for different types of help and decided on meditation. So I went to learn TM, and I
oh.
had to go back a few times to learn how to do it properly. Um, but when I came out of the first session, which was 22nd of September, I walked down the street out of the building, and everything was normal and etc. And then when I turned the corner of the road in the town, my consciousness came out of my body, and I experienced my consciousness sort of sitting here observing me for about 4 hours. So that was the start. But what happened, because I started to meditate twice a day, just for 20 minutes each time, it kick started a series of kind of visions. In other words, just the way I'm seeing you, I
Mm-hmm.
would see an alternate reality. So it would be right before my open eyes. So I wouldn't be in meditation. I'd just be sat there, stood there, looking out the window, and then the reality suddenly changed. And what I realized was they were intentional visions. There was a reason for each one. So the first one, I was shown my own death in
Oh,
order to dispel the ultimate fear that everybody has.
yeah.
The second vision was my whole reality flipped 360 degrees around me, everything except me. And the third was to show I was being watched over every step of the way. And so it went on, and the visions changed from being that type to being shown the flower of life, and I didn't know what that was. There was so much. I just didn't know a spiritual community existed, even. But I was shown consciousness grids, the labyrinth, what I call the labyrinth, which is the overall design of the whole thing.
Uh-huh.
And then I was shown things in intricate detail. So my eyes changed from just seeing to almost like having a lens that zoomed in as if it was a microscope. And so it went on for a few years. And obviously, I questioned my sanity. I didn't know what was happening, and I didn't
You
understand it.
operate in both worlds. How did you, because could you control when did those visions come in when you were meditating? Or did
No,
they come
not
in?
when I was meditating. No,
Oh,
I not when I was meditating. No, but I guess that was the perfection of it. Is they came in when I could be with them,
oh, wonderful.
and every single vision had this energetic feeling to it, which was profound, pure love. So none of them were frightening in any way. But of course, I was mainstream. I wasn't. I didn't know anything, and so
I
it
get it.
was hard. It was a hard 2 years because I was being shown things that I didn't know anything about. And I started to look for the information, and some of it just wasn't there. It wasn't on the internet in the spiritual arenas. And I had to wait 2 years for things to appear that
Right.
I'd gone through. So it was hard because I was still doing my job as a manager and graphic design manager. So yeah, it was a very hard 2 years for sure, and yet I knew just to keep with it, and I had so much trust, and it made sense in a sense because when I think I must have been in my late 40s when that happened, and when I was 22. See,
Again,
20,
I
yeah,
know
yeah, 22
too.
is my significant number.
Me
And when I
too.
was 22, I was working abroad in Minorca, uh, and 22 kept appearing and appearing in silly, profound ways. Eventually, I ended up having this was in the year of the harmonic convergence, but I
Uh-huh.
didn't know that until a few years ago. Um, and I ended up living it when I was 22. I had about 4 weeks or 6 weeks of being this person doing her job on the island. Then I was experiencing a past timeline where I was observing it.
Right.
So I was the observer of a past timeline on Earth. And then at the same time, I was being given just sudden data. So suddenly I knew what colors meant, each color. Suddenly I knew what numbers meant. And I was shown how to read Gaia, which meant if a twig faced a certain way, it meant something. If the wind blew a certain way or a light in the street flickered on and off twice, it had a meaning to it. And you join all these meanings up and get information. And so it was a profound experience to have these three versions of me all at the same time.
Wow.
And of course, they thought I'd lost my mind. So I was brought back to the UK and they electrocuted my brain and put me on many, many drugs and injections to stop it all. So I went through that
Oh my
and
God.
then integrated into society after about 3 years. So I reintegrated and did the mainstream job, relationships, house, car, finance, all of that until 2012. And that's when I got bolted awake. And all of a sudden, those experiences when I was 22 gently over the years started to make sense.
Right. Oh,
And
and isn't
yeah,
it amazing how the universe works to have
yeah,
had you have that experience so
yeah,
that you could do what you came here to do now? I mean,
yeah.
it's phenomenal. There's just the design of this is just
Oh,
remarkable.
it is. And the more we awaken, the more we see the design is so beautiful and sensitive to each one. Every single being, whether they're a human, a plant, an animal, it's it's so sensitively, kindly, with kindness designed. Even though we go through our own stuff, and we may not think it as a human being at
Yep.
times that this is kind. There's a bigger picture for you and you and you and you, and it's designed perfectly with kindness for you to remember exactly what you are and who you are. It staggers me the beauty of it
Oh, it's
now.
amazing. And
Yeah,
well, the way that you are able to articulate it, I am so amazed how beautifully you articulate what I'm feeling because I guess I'm a feeler more than able to explain, communicate, and I generate the energy and the love. But okay, so we've got Marcy's on, Pamela.
oh,
Kathy's on, Kathy Bachman, and Pamela Jane Gerard said, I'm so grateful for you two beautiful souls. Thank you, Kathy and Amanda, for sharing your radiant love. Thank you. Pamela.
thank you.
Pamela's a Canadian singer, songwriter. She's amazing, amazing.
Oh wow, really? Can
Um,
you? She'll have. Could I wonder if she could put a link to some of her her songs if
Yeah,
she's not too shy.
and you want to connect with Amanda. So
Yeah.
this is what I find interesting because, of course, I do a lot of graphics and I feel colors. I didn't, and numbers. And I've known stuff, but I didn't tell anyone so they wouldn't put me in shock therapy. I just figured out a way to navigate
Mm,
both worlds, but I never. I think my journey was a little bit easier than yours because I could hide it. I could I could see what was happening and see the outcome of what was the time. I see timelines.
mm.
So if someone was doing something, I'd go, well, don't they realize that if they do that, this is going to happen? And they didn't. And I didn't know everyone else couldn't see that.
Yeah.
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 Well, this is what I wanted to ask about because trust is a big issue for a lot of people, and you right away felt the love of this opportunity to expand your consciousness to really embody more than just the skin suit. Um, can you talk a little bit more about trust? Because I think right now that would help so many people.
Mm. I think there's one thing every single human being could do on the planet if they lack trust. I'm only just like thinking of this in
Yeah,
response to
yeah,
you, but
yeah.
it seems it's certainly something that works with me. Is whatever your situation, if you're feeling in that moment fear, lacking trust, uncertainty, worry, just c- close your eyes so that that reality is not there, and breathe into your heart space.
Right.
But there's the key thing is there, instead of it just being an exercise, breathing in, no counting to three and release, and none of that. It's feeling.
Right, right.
So when you breathe in, breathe love into your heart space.
Mhm,
And everybody can relate to loving a pet or a person, a member of the family. So recall how that love feels that you have for somebody or something.
mhm,
That's a feeling.
right.
Breathe that feeling of love into your heart space with your in breath, and then just wait just a few seconds. Don't count, just feel. Wait a few seconds and then breathe that love, or it appears to be that love. Breathe that love out, and you're not doing this physically, you're doing it with your imagination at first, but push that love out to the whole of your body, the whole of your body. Now at first when you do that, it feels like an exercise because the mind's focusing on breathing in, waiting a few seconds, breathing out to your
Yeah.
body. But after you've done it a few times, you're dropping the exercise and you're just going by feeling. And what that does, it does many things. You instantly feel love through the whole of your body. And that feeling of love is source energy.
Mhm,
So you're not even thinking about whether you trust or not.
right,
You're knowing, you're in knowing,
right,
but it comes from feeling, not from thinking, not from the mind.
right, right.
If you practice that, I was just in everything I've done is intuitive, even though I thought I had no intuition. I thought that's what other people had. But I knew to do this breathing about 6 months after awakening in 2012. And it has expanded my connection through the whole of the years to 2019. It grows and it grows and it grows. It expands your sensitivity. It expands your connection to source, to the point where you can direct the energy within your body. You can stop having a thought just in an instant because you can switch modes.
Right.
It's all through feeling. And I've done videos on it, which are on my Facebook wall in the video section. There's 2 videos about breathing, and it goes into the whole meaning of it. There's different ways people breathe and learn to breathe. So just do it your way. But ultimately, we all know, and everybody knows, that the energy of love is actually source energy.
Right.
So to breathe in love and then breathe out love, what you're actually breathing out is source energy. It's not actually the human being's love.
Right.
You just think it is
Right.
until you realize it isn't.
One of the
So trust the heart. Trust the heart. The brain is a processor. It only knows what it's learnt so far. And it bases its definitions, it bases its judgments, its perceptions, its answers on what it has experienced so far in this physical lifetime.
right.
So the brain doesn't have trust. You
Right.
drop into your heart, and the trust has always been there. It's just waiting for you to tap into it.
So do you use, when you do your meditations, do you, in order to get the quiet and then connect more to all that is, which includes you, do you do any specific process besides the breathing that allows you to have these incredible inspirations? I mean, I read, you guys, everybody should friend Amanda or follow her on Facebook because it's, they're brilliant. The stream, they're almost like journal entries.
Like
And
what entry,
they're
sorry?
more like journal entries. The
Yeah,
entries you put on
yeah.
Facebook. What do you do to get to that?
Okay. So there's 2 things. There's meditation, and then there's the data. So I'll explain both of, because yeah, I guess people don't realize how that
No,
is.
no.
So there's a meditation type called transcendental meditation, or
Right.
TM for short.
Mm-hmm.
And all that is, it's a mantra that you're given that you repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. And all that does is stop you from thinking thoughts.
Your mind. Mm-hmm.
So the idea with TM is that you don't, all you're doing is dropping your thoughts, dropping your thoughts, dropping your thoughts to the point where there's no thoughts, and the mantra stops. And when it stops, your consciousness is all that is. And you're experiencing all that is, which is a silent space
Yes.
of everything and nothing all at the same time.
Yeah.
So there's no stimulation in that space. It's not astral travel. I'm not trying to go anywhere. I'm not trying to source information when I'm meditating. I'm just quieting my mind. And I do find that in everyday life, just doing that helps you cope. It brings you into a balance, and that balance accrues and accrues and accrues over time. It doesn't go backwards. It just keeps accruing. So I highly recommend that
Mm-hmm.
because it's so simple.
Yeah.
It couldn't be more simple. You repeat the same mantra until you're not saying it because you've dropped. But in terms of the data I write, it's not channeled. I could channel if I wanted to, but I was shown early in my awakening to rely only on my embodiment and only on within, because my path was going to be like that. I wasn't going to deviate. I was
Oh,
going to kind of like, if it was a tree, I would like look into a branch here and go, oh, okay, that's that. And then keep going up and then see another branch of inquiry. Okay, that's that. Keep going up. So everything I write is because I've embodied it.
okay.
Now, because we all go through stages of becoming a higher consciousness that we already are, but we're becoming it because we go into stages of that. Our energy, our frequency increases because the higher consciousness is a higher energetic frequency of consciousness.
Right.
And what happens is I suddenly have knowing. I've had it today. So one moment I won't know something, and then the next moment I'm giving myself information for about 3 or 4 hours, and it's just unfolding within me, and then I'll get my recorder and record what I know because my memory is like a sieve. But with the Facebook posts, I get this feeling because we are going into operating from feeling.
Right.
So our words, our actions will be a result of feeling. And with the Facebook posts and also the lives I do, I get this excitement within me that says, "Oh, you need to start writing this," and then that just takes over, and it is what it is.
Right.
So it's not a channeling. It's an embodiment knowing of information, and I write probably that much of what I'm knowing because writing is so hard now.
Right.
It's really a hard thing to do because you have to go into linear language and
Right.
try and describe something in a way. I try to meet everybody. So if they're newly awakened, I try and allow them to understand because I know how confusing it was for me. And
Right.
then if it's a highly awakened person, they're going to resonate or join the dots or link or have an aha moment.
Well,
So
you're
it's all natural, basically.
well, you're helping so many people because all of the people, whether they're the early way showers or the people that are just waking up, are going through these huge transitions, and
Mm,
we've been alone. And what's
yeah,
happened with what you're doing is you're bringing people together to know that they're not alone,
yeah,
that a lot of what they offer is a gift and on purpose, that we all came here at this time to
yes,
share this because we are embodying source.
yeah,
It's a new game
yeah,
in this reality. And so you're, whether you realize what you're doing, you are just helping so many people with, no, I'm not crazy. and
yeah,
and
yeah,
I can do this. I'm not alone.
yeah,
I can do this. That's the
yeah,
other part, is that so many people feel overwhelmed and want to check out. And what you're doing is you're really supporting people that, no, it's okay. You're not alone. This is
mm.
intended. This is
I yeah, I started to write in 2014, 2 years after I woke, because I just figured, I'd gone through 2 years of trying to understand what was happening to me and not finding the answers. Because in those days, 2014, everything was about master beings and channeled from the masters. You notice how it's all changing, or has changed.
we are
And
there.
um, and so it's becoming more us speaking from our human based on our process and our development. So, but I wrote because I figured I knew how hard it was for me, and I thought, well, if it helps one person, isn't it worth it?
Right.
Just to help one person who's struggling, or somebody who I've done a lot of videos on helping people deal with their emotions. It's tough
Yeah.
dealing with your emotions. It's like a minefield sometimes trying to get through, especially if they last and last. So I try to help with that because there is a way. There absolutely is is a simple way to all of this. It's just the mind that complicates it or takes it down rabbit holes of inquiry that don't serve them. And that's why I do it, because I know this isn't me saying it, it's a knowing, an embodiment knowing, is that every single thing in this creation is equal.
Right.
Everything is. It cannot not be equal. It's impossible. And so you have people going through lack of self-worth. That was a big one for me. Lifetime of lack of self-worth, and people wanting to check out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But just feel held by the people that are coming from their hearts,
Right.
just to help you as in that particular stage of your journey. And you may then stop following them and stop listening and go your way, and that's brilliant. It's just this, people are here to to just help you empower yourself,
Right.
because you already are it. You serious? And they're not words, it's the truth. You
Yeah.
already are it, and you're finding your way to knowing it
Exactly.
again.
Well, I want you to know that Janice King is here, Xana Kozar, and Pamela put a YouTube up, so we'll have to see what that is afterwards. If anyone
Okay.
has questions, thank you all for coming. If anyone has questions for Amanda, this is the perfect opportunity
Yeah.
for rather than me hog all the questions, although I'll
Yeah.
be glad to come up with more. What happened with me is in year 2000, I had a white light experience where I saw what I was. And I still every day see it. And then, but figuring out how to be that has been the journey. So I think that's what I'm saying. Everyone's journey is so beautifully designed for them, because we must have decided as consciousness we wanted to have that experience.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
when you say we are source, I saw that, and I saw how
Yes.
little of it is in this body,
Yeah. Yeah.
and how much I want more of it in this body, which is what we came here to do,
Yes. And
right?
all it actually is the consciousness we always have been. We're having the experience of a lower energetic frequency consciousness, so we know less, we know far less. In other words, we've forgotten.
Right,
But it's just that the frequency of the consciousness of human beings is at a level that's lower than what we really are. So all of everybody's journey is designed uniquely for them. None of us have got the same clues, breadcrumbs. We're
mhm.
not going down the same paths, and yet ultimately everybody's story, it's actually, I was shown it as a crystalline program that we agreed to follow.
Oh,
And then at certain times of this light program, things kick in.
oh,
And so we awaken, or we have this experience, or we meet that person. It's all designed already. It's just that we're having the experience of it without the memory of it. Otherwise, it's game over.
right, right.
Once we remember it's game over, and we are
Well,
not that consciousness
boredom,
anymore.
boredom.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
how do past lives fit into all of this?
That's a big question. Um,
Yep.
that I don't feel really qualified to answer, because I
Oh,
haven't been here much.
okay.
I haven't. I've had about 4 or 5 lifetimes on Earth, and that's it. And I'm also a walk-in, so it's hard for me to answer that. What I will say is that because we're here in this lifetime to realize distortional patterns that the human mind cycles again and again and again. If we don't clear those patterns in a lifetime, then we're going to have to clear them in another lifetime.
Right.
That probably doesn't help much, but I'm not really the one to ask
Okay.
about too many past lives. I had reasons for having the past lives, but that was all so that I could come this lifetime and help.
I understand. Okay. Well, okay. So then the next thing, because people are saying hello, but they're not asking questions. Um,
Okay.
I don't know if you can see this, but you made a diagram that
Yeah.
I use all the time. I use this
Yeah.
not every day, but close.
Yes.
And it's because the people I get to work with are the way showers that are taking as many people as can wake up to 5D that or higher.
Yeah.
That so Amanda did, and this is a terrible
No,
expression.
it's not. It's accurate. Yeah.
So, but it's true. I knew I don't. We don't, as of 2012, we do not have to have near death experiences in order to awaken. That's number one. Number two, which before that may have been the case in my knowing. Then what's happened is there's people that have decided in this experience they're going to stay in 3D, and that's fine. That's the way it's supposed to be for them. But there's a whole group of people that are to go to 5D and higher. And
Mm.
Amanda explained it. Do you want to explain it better than?
Yeah. So this was done a couple of years ago. We've basically we've got three groups of people that becomes two groups of people. Okay, so that one going up the center is the people that are just on a direct route. They've awakened, and as they go through their step-by-step process, they're just going straight up, if you like,
Right.
to a higher frequency consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
um in other words, that they're not hanging around and getting deviated or distracted too much by 4D. So if we take 3D and then 5D, in between is the 4D, which is only a journey.
Right.
Nobody stays in 4D. It's just literally a means to an end to help you awaken, go through your stages of ascension before you go into a higher consciousness,
Okay.
which is 5D and above. But there are people awakened that have chosen pre-life to spend a little bit more time in 4D. They
Right.
want to explore it. And bearing in mind, they're exploring it as source.
Right.
It's all perfect. You know, people think there's something wrong with exploring this, that, and the other, and there isn't. It's source exploring itself in infinite ways.
Right.
And if everybody was going like that, it would be even more limited for source to explore itself. So
Right.
people have chosen to spend a little bit longer in 4D, maybe a year or 2 years more in that 4D environment, so that they can have other experiences before they go into a fifth dimensional state of consciousness. So it's perfection.
Yeah.
That is perfection. Whereas other people are saying, well, have agreed, no, I'm not going to go that way. I'll go this way.
Right.
Because the ones that go this way direct are are the ones providing the information. They are the ones that are able to support, because they're experiencing it pretty much as per the galactic timeline itself that unfolds for the collective. And then you've got the 3D, which is people that have, or should I say, souls
Right.
that have chosen not to awaken in the body this lifetime.
Right.
But I have a limited knowing, because I've been shown it. that when a person exits 3D or transitions
Mm-hmm.
from the body just through physical death,
Mm-hmm.
unawakened, they awaken
Right.
after death.
Right. Right.
And I have been shown that, but it's not huge information on it. It's just been for me to know.
I'm fascinated with that. I'm part of the International Association for Near-Death Studies, and somehow, for some reason, I am just fascinated with not being afraid of death and seeing what people do. I want you to know that there's several people that have started asking questions. Um,
Great.
First of all, Janice King wrote, 33 years ago, I had what I thought was a vision. Because of Amanda, I know now for that time my consciousness was taken. I had no memory of this dream. I felt like I was there for an hour when actually 1 minute had gone by. What I was shown is still vivid in my mind. Cannot even put into words, is something you have to experience. Thank you,
Yeah.
Amanda.
Yeah.
We
Beautiful. And in moments of difficulty, these experiences we've a lot of people have had, just take yourself in a moment of difficulty, take yourself back to that profound, beautiful experience,
right,
um, and then you have every reason to keep going.
right, right.
Trust yourself.
And the excitement about being that. That's for me. Once you see that and you can bring that to this reality, you can create the most beautiful things. Okay, so Zana Kozar says, can you please talk about personal current lifetime mission slash purpose, how to access it, and patience? Thanks.
Say that again. Could you please talk about what was the
A
first part?
personal mission and or purpose.
Personal mission or
Your life,
purpose. Yeah.
mission.
Um, it's something that everybody wants to know straight away when they awaken is what's my purpose? What's my mission? Um, I'm going to put the cat among the pigeons here,
Okay.
okay, and say that nobody knows their mission or purpose in full
Right.
until they've elevated to their higher consciousness, to their higher self state, whilst retaining the body. And we all want to know it because if we know our mission, if we know our purpose, we feel more secure.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is more, why do we need? If we ask ourselves, if I ask myself, why do I need to know my mission? And find the answer within me quietly, I'll see there's a little insecurity there that I need to squash because it's not true. Um, we get breadcrumbs on our awakening journey of what our purpose is. Yes, absolutely. So I have certain bits of knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
but you get shown at, at stages of your awakening.
Right.
Everything is perfectly designed
Exactly.
to not distract you. Imagine if you awoke and were shown your mission and you were still 60, 70, 80% in your ego mind. Think of the chaos. So the focus is on embodiment, and it always has been.
Right.
And from that enlightened state, which is you, it's your higher self in
Mm-hmm.
body,
Mm-hmm.
you then have the ability, the energetic ability to give out to all, because then you're in the unity consciousness already, exactly what you came here to give out. So it's patience in a sense for the brain to wait. Um, how things will be on Gaia for the whole is going to be so different to many perceptions, and it's going to be more beautiful and glorious and united than our wildest dreams. We can get hung up in what is my purpose, and you know what that does? Keeps us in 4D. So people can think at an early stage that, oh, I have a gift, and they can expand that gift, and then suddenly that gift becomes a business, and then suddenly they're stuck in a business that is run in a third dimensional manner. So
Well,
there's so many reasons
hear
to
that.
not know your purpose
Yeah.
until you're completely in the heart, where the ego has dissolved,
Hmm.
um, and then your purpose is revealed. But you will get breadcrumbs, you will get nudgings, you will have clues and ideas of what that is.
Well, the reason why I was showing this is that I really feel like a lot of the people I'm working with in my company are people that are bringing that information of how to, it's not self-actualizing, it's way higher than that, but they're way showers to
Mm,
how to, because I think the only reason why people didn't end up in 5D is there wasn't there's an operating functionality in 3D. Polarity is still in 4D.
mm-hmm,
So they know how to do, they can go higher than 3, but they don't have the operating procedure for 5. And
mm-hmm,
that's what most of the people I'm working with, I
mm,
feel, are here to do. And so
mm.
it's wonderful. It's a wonderful time to co-create. And we're helping one soul at a time. It's not, it's all
Yeah, and it will unfold. It will unfold how we serve, how we help each other. Gaia showed me, I think it was last year or the last year or the year before, I can't remember. She showed me the fifth dimensional blueprint. She
oh,
showed me the third dimensional blueprint, which is actually still in operation and pristine. It was just that it got manipulated. The
right,
third dimensional blueprint got manipulated, but the actual way it was designed was perfect and could have worked. So the way we will help each other will be so different to how the mind thinks we will help each other,
right,
because it will be energy based
right,
and
right,
resonance based.
right.
Um,
Perfect.
the higher self is what we're becoming with consciousness in the body. So, but the higher self is orchestrating it all for each of us.
Right, right,
And the higher self creates the whole of our lives, and the meeting up with this person and that person and the path. And when we awaken, the
right,
higher self creates it through energy, through drawing in what it wishes and expanding that energy out.
perfect.
So
Yeah,
now imagine doing that as the human being.
yeah,
And then we get an idea of how we will be helping each other.
right.
It, it,
Beautiful.
yeah, it's going to be fascinating,
Well,
but we're not quite there yet.
well, I feel, I mean, I am so optimistic about everything with the way people are coming out, they're sharing their gifts, and it's all heart. What I'm getting
Mm,
from almost everyone is the heart energy. It's, you have 3 brains and you have science catching up. But you've got this brain, you've got the heart brain and the dantian, and the heart is where all of this is coming out of.
mm.
So
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
2020 and beyond is going to be amazing.
Yes.
I want you to know that lots of people are commenting and saying beautiful truths and thank you and everything here. So thank you so much. Tracy O'Hara is saying, have you had any experiences of the third eye opening?
Yes,
Okay.
totally. Yes.
And
Yeah. But along, yeah. My third eye opened in 2012. Um, so I've been awake for 7 years. So pretty much 7 years, my third eye has been awoke. Yeah. Um, but because my path, we all have to sort of just honor our own path. It's not to say there's a right way or a wrong way. Absolutely not. There's your way, and your way is the right way for you. Okay, regardless of what you experience.
right.
So even though my third eye is open, um, I don't try and have experiences. So my brain, my Mandy doesn't try to have third eye experiences. I just trust that. In other words, I don't want to get distracted by third eye experiences
I understand.
because my focus is on embodiment of my higher self. Um, we can get distracted by what we see with the third eye. And because we're, say, so far awakened, we can misinterpret what we see with the third eye because the brain itself, the processor, hasn't experienced it before, so therefore doesn't know. When you embody, you become the knower. So you have a knowing that is bigger than an experience of seeing, if you like.
Seeing.
But the third eye, we are shown many things, but then what happens is the human brain goes away and interprets it and starts to put story to what it's been shown. I've done this in the past where I thought, oh, that must mean this and this and this, and then 2 years later you realize it didn't, you know. And you realize it didn't because something else has happened in your embodiment stage for you to realize what it actually meant.
Right. Hindsight.
But then there's I don't know whether Tracy's talking about that or whether she's talking about the what we term the all-seeing eye or the God spark. I'm not too sure now if.
Well, it was, have you had any experiences with third eye opening? So I really think that is
Yeah.
my birthday, 2012.
And to just, if in case people are wanting to work with their third eye, just drop all thought. So when you see something, don't go into the brain and try and imagine more, because there's the brain's imagination. I could imagine I'd like to be on a beach right now. Okay, that's not the third eye. So the third eye sight will come unexpectedly
Right.
through no brain manipulation of desire of outcome. And what we can do is have a third eye experience and then let the brain kick in the same moment, and then the brain starts to steer the experience, and
Oh, yeah,
that's mind doing it.
that's like lucid dreaming almost, right?
Yeah, similar. Yeah,
So
yeah.
Tracy said, yes, that's it, the golden flashes. So you
Oh,
got rid
hello
of.
Tracy, by the way, love to you.
Yeah. Okay. So Kathy Botchman said, I have a strong sense of being pushed to be visible with my spiritual abilities, yet have a huge reticence to be seen.
Okay, okay, so go with your heart. It may well be that you are to be seen, but not right now.
Right. She's an art.
So also to look at what your resistance is,
Hmm.
and if that would be beautiful to do in your own time. Why am I resistant to being seen? There'll be a fear in there, and explore that. And then you're going to clear something big.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And then you're going to feel empowered, and you will embody more energy, more power. Um, don't push yourself, because that is anti-flow. There's no push, there's no force, there's no try. You know, that's all peridium, that's 3D. So it's just to go with your own flow and what feels good.
Right, right, right. Perfect. Thank you. Xana is asking, can you please give us guidance about embodiment?
Oh, well, that's a huge one, because that's what we're all doing.
Right.
If you're here, you're doing it. Um, Guidance. I would say this is just my personal, perception or point of view. So if it doesn't resonate, just leave it be and do your thing. But I have found the greatest thing I did was learn to quieten my mind, because it's like a runaway train, the mind. It never stops yakking at us.
Uh-huh.
It takes us down all sorts of subjects that we don't even need to look at or explore.
Mm-hmm.
It brings up a million questions, that there's always a question, we find an answer, and then there's immediately another question. So embodiment, you are not your mind, your consciousness.
Perfect.
Okay, so the mind has to be observed. So observe myself. I observe myself all the time. I
Mm-hmm.
observe my thoughts all the time, my words, my actions. It's a 24/7 thing I'm devoted to.
Yeah.
And by having the courage to observe yourself and have the courage to explore yourself, even if you don't want to go there, pick a day when you're feeling a bit stronger and ready to go there,
Mm-hmm.
but explore yourself of why you're feeling this and why you're feeling that. And that way you'll see distortions within you that you can release and dissolve. And then your energy rises.
Perfect. Perfect. And I'd like to add an idea there that this whole time period for the past, I would say 2, 3 years, has been about identifying where you are, um, where you're stuck with dark energy, which is usually emotions in your body, and release it so you can hold more light and embody more of your higher being,
Mm.
because that's what we're doing here. So if you're finding that those stinking thinking, that those thoughts that come up that are part of the mind trying to protect you, it's your ego trying to protect you, because there's still some pain stuck here.
Mm.
And that would be the first place to start to be able to embody more, is to
Mm.
release anything you can that isn't
Yes.
isn't necessary for your journey. I think that's why Todd Medina calls it the human is the hero,
Mm.
is because that's heroic to go
Yes.
through all of that.
It takes courage to look at ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And there's things about each of us, every single human being. You're not alone in this. You're not odd. You're not a bad person.
Right.
You're not less than anyone. You're on the same track as
Yeah.
everybody. So, but it takes courage to choose to look at something about ourselves. That takes courage. And maybe we're not ready today. Maybe we're ready in 6 months' time. But just remember that I've heard for years people say, oh, we've already done this, it's already done. And they were just words that I heard out in the spiritual community until I embodied the fact that I know it's already done.
Oh, beautiful.
So the people that feel they're struggling with their emotions and yes, we're all dissolving our distortions that we each have. It's not that we're a bad person and we've got these distortions and we need to clear them to be a better person, a higher frequency. What it is that we've already become the higher frequency. We're already higher consciousness. The only point of the game is to forget that. So when things come up for each of us, it's not that we're doing something wrong, it's that it's coming up for us to dissolve, to become more of what we already are.
Right.
We're
Perfect.
already that pure being of light.
So perfect.
So there's nothing to fear about looking at yourself. It's only coming up because it's time on your timeline for this to come up. Bim, there it is, lights on. This is being presented. Lack of self worth,
Right.
judgment, jealousy, whatever it is.
Yep. Yep.
Bing, here we go. It's coming up. Why is it coming up? Because it's time via your higher self. It's time for this one to go. And then that goes, and the higher self becomes more of you, more and more and more and more.
I have one question for you that you might not like, but
Oh, that's funny.
oh no, do you have a name for your higher self? Because a lot of the people that I follow have created a different, almost a different persona for that being
Yeah,
versus this
yeah.
being.
No, I
So,
don't,
oh,
and there's a reason I don't.
okay.
Uh, is
Separation.
yeah, because whatever name you create for yourself at another stage of your ascension, you're going to let go of that one too.
Right.
So, you know, ultimately, everybody is the creation expressed out of
Hmm.
Source, of
Right.
God.
Right.
And sooner or later, everybody is going to realize that.
Right.
So whatever name you call yourself, I don't, my birth name is Amanda. I get called Amanda. I get called Mandy. Just from family onwards, it's just been that way.
Uh-huh.
I'm not attached to either of the names, but we've got to call each other something, haven't we, while we're here? So that's kind of the only attached. That's the only thing I have with a name, is that we don't want to say "Hey you" because everybody else will look round, and
Right.
you know it's.
Yeah. Oh,
And also, I'll tell you something that's quite interesting is there are people that do change their names and call themselves something else, and it can be that as Source remembering itself, they have chosen to explore a particular aspect
oh,
of themselves.
okay.
So then they will resonate with another name and go down. It's a branch of the tree, but they'll go down the branch of the tree that allows Source to explore itself as that.
Uh-huh.
So there's no right or wrong to changing your names or anything. It's Source exploring itself. But
Right.
sooner or later, that consciousness, that being that's here on planet Earth now, will let go of that because it will be time for them to come out of that branch. They will have learned everything they needed to be shown, and they will
Go
carry
back
on their journey.
to the tree. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's my perception anyway. It's not necessarily, you
Oh
know.
no, it's great. It's brilliant. It's so simple, and that's the way. Obviously, we want everyone to be able to picture that and find their way in it. That's
Yeah, and the thing to say is, if you feel yourself as another aspect, uh, yes, you are, but you're everything. You're more than just that other aspect.
right. Right.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Okay, so do we? Do you feel that? And this is my sense, but I don't know if it's true. But I really feel this. Do you feel that this is the first time that humans have have ascended embodied before in the galaxy? It seems like this is the greatest show on earth. Like there's all these other all these beings, and that 7 billion souls wanted to embody right now to play this game. It seems like, anyway, what do you think about that?
In a sense, yes. Um, yeah, I mean, without getting too in depth about timelines and, you know, I say timelines, but everything is now. So I do feel there was a drop in consciousness a very long time ago, and yet it is now.
Right.
If you see what I mean.
The dark ages. And,
Yeah, yeah. So there was a consciousness, a higher conscious, a purer state of being, should I say?
mhm,
But you know, so I do feel we have been a higher state of being, but the human being that we're becoming now
right.
has never been done before.
That's what I'm getting.
Absolutely,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. That served its purpose for the creation of all that was to follow.
The contrast.
So this is new expansion.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. So, Janice King's asking, and we are over time. I hope is that okay with you?
Oh, yeah, it's
Okay,
fine.
girl. This
Yeah.
is wonderful. Thank you so much for doing
No,
this.
it's absolutely fine.
Isn't that fun? Um,
Yeah.
so Janice King said, can you speak more about those who have chosen not to awaken? Will they physically be able to see us, or will our frequency be vibrating too high for that reality?
Okay. So some that have chosen not to awaken will continue on their life, and then have a physical exit, a death, and awaken after the death.
And
Okay. People will see us, yes, absolutely, absolutely. But what you might find is people exit your reality. So what seems to be the parting of the ways, people, you no longer see this person, or you no longer see that person in your reality. And so that's how it's designed. It's not quite as, stark as we could paint it. You know, I think that's been probably a little bit distorted through not intentionally so, but it everything is more subtle than the brain thinks, in a sense. It's we can go into fear quite a bit, and it's actually designed in a far more beautiful transitional way, because God is every single human being.
and animals and everything about the
But also bear in mind, that people that seem extremely asleep in your reality right now, some of them will awaken.
right,
It's
right,
designed that.
right.
So they're playing the part really well of being the polar opposites, or because we're in the field of polarity, and they're playing their part. We've got to have people playing the parts, otherwise there's nothing to compare to. There's nothing. We're in a field of polarities, so it's this and that. But the people that are not awakened are actually divine beings already, playing the part of not being awakened.
Right, right.
And I know a few of them, and they are just the greatest gift,
Yes,
because they think they're asleep, and yet they're saying things to you that actually help you realize things. It's
exactly.
beautiful.
They're triggering
Well,
whatever.
not even just triggering, not even just, I mean, triggering, yeah, but you can have awakened people triggering awakened people, and that's
Right.
part of dissolving our distortions. But I know people that are asleep who've said things from just their personality, say,
Uh-huh.
that's I've gone away, from their heart, And I've gone away and thought about what they said from their heart, and it's actually given me an aha moment.
Yes.
And I think, wow, how did you do that? You know,
This whole thing is so, it's such
divine.
genius,
Yeah, it
genius,
is genius. It is. It could only
wonderful.
be created by God. That's for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have a question myself, and then we've got a question from the field here. Um, have you ever watched any of Dolores Cannon's work? Do you know who she is? Okay,
Yes, I do.
okay, and she talked about these beings that were extras, that energy, like if you went to the airport and there would be certain people that were supposed to be in the play, they would manifest, and they were real people, but a lot of the other people were just energy organizing itself to be extras in your play. Do you
Yes.
find that, is that true?
In my experience, it's absolutely true.
Wow, really? Yeah,
Yeah.
it just blows my mind. I love the idea of that, but it just blows my mind.
Oh, it's
It is
brilliant.
that brilliant
Yeah.
that it could know that I need to wait in line at the post office that much longer, so it created these. Isn't that wild?
No, it's amazing. So Dolores Cannon, when I awoke and I knew nothing, uh, very quickly, I don't know how, but I found Dolores Cannon
Okay.
while she was still living.
Oh, wow. You're
And and what because I'm not a brilliant reader anyway, I struggle with reading anyway. Um, her YouTube videos were kind of my teacher at the time,
oh, interesting.
of trying to figure out. I was searching for answers to my experiences, and things that she said in her YouTube videos resonated completely at the time.
Yeah.
Um, so I haven't seen all her videos, but I've seen quite a few in my early years of
Uh-huh.
awakening, and I've had several experiences that they're increasing now, because they will, as we embody more our higher self, so the
Mhm.
reality starts to collapse more frequently before our eyes.
Right.
It happens from within us, and so when you start to see the outside, your consciousness changes, and you see it as almost like a film set.
Mhm.
You see the extras, you see them, and you actually know who's going to come in. You know that a dog's going to come in from over there. um so so there's people that are kind of, that you could call them extras, because they're making up the numbers in order for this to seem as real as possible in your reality. Okay.
But
So
their own,
everybody's got their own extras.
isn't that wild? And they're really energy just reformulating. Next time it's a dog, next time it's a horse, next time it's a chair. It can, a
Yeah.
car.
And when your consciousness is outside of your body, that's when you see it's not real.
Right.
That's when you know it's not real. When your consciousness doesn't feel like it's in the brain and in the
Right.
mind,
When
and it's
you're the
outside of
observer.
the human body, that's when you see that it's all made. It's all a design.
Right.
And buildings are funny, because um, at that point they're so flimsy, they look as if they're going to fall over, and yet in a lower state of consciousness, they're like solid bricks and stones, aren't they? Really solid, and they don't look like that at all.
It's a set. A
It's
3D,
Yeah.
yeah, like a movie set or a play background,
Yes,
backdrop.
yes,
Mhm.
yes, and you're the observer, so you're you're actually observing it, but you're actually the director at that point of it. But
Right.
we're going to be learning to be the director. That's
That's
where we're
what
going.
I want to know more about that.
Oh yes. Well, it's inevitable that you will. It's
Yeah.
inevitable that everybody awakened will.
Right. Right.
Just let it happen. It is a natural process. This ascension is a natural process. We're trying to learn it. Not, not everybody, but we're trying to learn it with the mind. And
Mhm.
actually, it's about the mind letting go of the mind
Right.
and stepping back from the mind so that you can actually observe what's really happening
Right.
rather than being in the thick of it with
Right.
the brain.
Right. Okay, so one other question. Monica Ramirez says, is the change going to be like the Christian rapture?
Oh, what's the Christian? Is my ignorance. What's the Christian rapture?
I didn't mean to throw you a curveball here, but
No, it's a really good question. Is it
yeah,
because
well, it's
it's
because a lot
causing a lot of fear out there as well in different circles of people. I don't. Do you know what the Christian rapture is? Is it?
well, I think it's where
We
people
need to Google it.
and but no, I don't actually know what it is either. So I mean, I know that there's no, I don't. Monica,
I would
can you
say
help us?
my experience of the Bible, because I was raised in England, so Christianity was, is still a part of being raised in England, even though it's a multinational country now, which is brilliant. So I was brought up with reading parts of the Bible. My awakening has shown me that, in a sense, there's hidden meaning within the Bible, and so things are not to be taken literally.
Right.
It's esoteric knowledge. For instance, somebody messaged me the other day about they were told we go through 3 days of darkness. So
Right.
you could take that literally and think, well, the sun's going to go out, and like that's how you take it literally.
Right.
So
Right.
everybody all at the same time goes through 3 days of darkness. My understanding, because of what I've been shown about how energy works, is we're all on our own sine wave. The planet operates on a sine wave.
Hmm.
Everything is in waveform, and we are on our own individual sine wave as well. So
Hmm.
we experience dips like this in our energy,
Hmm.
and we will experience we will at different stages of our ascension, we experience days of darkness. We experience 3 days of darkness, but it's darkness as in low energy,
Right. Right.
where you are wanting to exit. But then what happens, because we're following a sine wave which goes like that all the time, is we get to that bottom part and we do our work on ourselves, and then we rise.
Right.
So, in terms of the Bible, the resurrection, what is the resurrection? It's the rise of each human into a higher state of consciousness.
Right. Right. Okay.
But I'm sorry that I don't really know what the rapture is, but I only know what I know.
I guess I would have tried to answer it, but I don't really feel that I would do it justice either. So thank you. Okay, so Julia's saying the Christian rapture is where some people are taken up to heaven before the Great Tribulation period, wars, terrors, etc., before Christ returns. Very fear-based. That's what Julia.
Again, I would say that during our ascension journey, each one, we are given, and so this is people having these experiences. I've had them, other people have had them, where you are taken out of body
Right.
to have experiences so that there's more than
Yes.
what we perceive there to be.
Yes.
So there's a lot of beauty in different scriptures. So the Bible, the Torah,
Korean.
in India, you know, that storyline that they follow. There's beauty and truths in all of them, but they go a lot deeper, not to be taken literally. It's the journey of each one of us. You could take the Bible and then flip that round to be your journey, where
Right.
you meet all these different people that
Right.
present in the Bible.
Right.
You know, the thief, the murderer, the you know, all these different people that
Archetype.
present in the Bible,
Right.
and then you know the crucifixion. It's um, the day of judgment. It's all part of ascension. It literally is, but you need to go within and see how it is. Judgment came up for me in, I think it was October. It near crucified me. The amount of judgment. I was being judged, and then I was judging.
Right. Right.
And the pain of how judgment affects another,
Mhm.
that's what crucified me. The pain caused by judgment. And we think on this ascension, I know I'm deviating here a little bit, but we think it's quite an important point actually, is we think on this ascension that the human mind has to dissolve these patterns. The truth is that as we focus within and embody more and more energy, they dissolve anyway.
Right.
So the example would be I went through all of that. Judgment came up on my timeline because higher self is saying this is going to go. At the time, it wasn't going, it was terrible.
Right.
But last Sunday, just this week, I woke up and judgment has left my body, doesn't exist. And I was on Sunday, I was looking at myself and thinking, oh, oh, that's what that was. And it's an innocent observation, and it's like, oh wow, that's what judgment, that was an experience. The whole, you know, the life experience where we judge. Oh, that's what that was.
That's
Oh, okay. And there was no judgment about judgment. It's gone. So, in other words, we're going to lose these things anyway, but we're going through the experience of thinking we have to control it, we have to do it, but it's coming up to be dissolved
it's going
anyway.
to be
So,
resolved.
if it's in your reality, if it's coming up, whatever it is, it's coming up because you've already dissolved it, and that's exactly what you're going to do.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much. We've gone a half an hour over, so I'm afraid we have to stop. We'll have to do this again, Amanda. This was
Okay. Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you so much. And everyone, have a wonderful 12/12/19.
Yeah.
The portal's open. We're
Yeah.
receiving more and more of source energy. And it's just the perfect time of year. Be excited. Be excited and show up completely as the gift
Yeah.
you are.
Just
Right?
be you.
Yeah.
Celebrate you.
Yes.
Uh, you've waited long enough to be you, and just be that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amanda, so much. Love you, dear.
Thank you, Kathy, and thank you, everybody. I wish everybody so well. It's such an amazing day, energetically wise. It's profound. So sending love to everybody. God bless you.
Thank you all. Thank you.